So let's talk about what makes a good critique. In a previous video, I talked about the importance as a writer of finding beta readers and critique partners. So let's talk about what makes a good critique. What does that look like? What makes good critique versus bad critique, right? Because there is a difference, and it's important to note that as you're both receiving feedback and giving feedback. I'm going to start with what good feedback looks like. And while this might vary from person to person, how they feel about this, in general, good critique is something that is specific, is not mean-spirited, right? It comes from a place where that person's actually trying to help them, and it's something that the author can then actually utilize as they're doing their edits or revisions. So for example, let's say you're reading the first chapter, or like a prologue to an author's work, and you find it's really hard to follow. There's a lot of character names, but not really any focus on any one of them. So good critique or good feedback would look like saying something like, hey, I really like this one character. They seem really important to the story. I would like to maybe know more about them. Maybe you can draw out their introduction, help the reader to connect with them a little bit more, right? So it starts off, it's specific about what specifically that author could focus on. It's not mean-spirited. It's saying, hey, I really like this one character. Maybe you can focus on them a little bit more. And it's something that the author can actually work off of. When the author goes back to do their edits or revisions, they can go and say, hey, okay, I got feedback saying they wanted more about that one character. I should maybe focus on that, right? It's something that the author can actually use and feel good about. On the flip side of that, bad critique is going to either be too vague or general, or mean-spirited, or just simply not something that can be used by the author effectively, right? So taking my example from before, let's say someone reads that passage, they have the same idea that, okay, there's too many characters being introduced, it's too much at once, and they just say, hey, I don't understand this, I just don't understand this, right? That feedback's not helpful. Just saying, oh, I don't understand this, well, what about it don't you understand? What is the specific reasons, right? It's too vague, it's not very helpful for the author, right? Likewise, if someone came back and said, oh, hey, I don't understand this, there's too many characters, this passage is terrible, you need to rewrite it, right? It might sound like they're trying to be helpful because they're saying, hey, there's too many characters here, but by saying, oh, I don't understand it, this is terrible, that comes across as mean-spirited, the author might not necessarily want to use their feedback. And this applies even if you're not a beta reader or critique partner. If you're going to be giving feedback to someone's written work, you need to make sure that good critique is specific enough, right, that they know what they're looking for. It's not mean-spirited, right, so it doesn't come across like the person's just insulting that author, and it is simply useful for that author to then go back when they're making those edits and revisions to better their work.